What is going on, everyone? Welcome into Big Time Football Talk. So the last thing I wanted to touch on, I want to talk a little bit about what the Atlanta Falcons will do at pick 8. So if you look at the Atlanta Falcons, obviously quarterback is a need. Offensive line they could upgrade. On the defensive side of the ball, defensive line is a position they could look at. Linebacker, pretty much, obviously a lot of spots they could upgrade for Atlanta. I'll be honest, at pick 8, to me, I think Atlanta should go. I'll do two guys. I'll say it. Even though part of me, I'll say Bijan Robinson. And I know they took Tyler Algier and they had a nice year last year. Bijan Robinson is at pick 8. If you could get a top, Bijan Robinson, arguably a top 3 player in this draft. If you can get him at pick 8, that is a huge win for the Atlanta Falcons. And this is a roster. It kind of reminded me of the Lions a couple years ago. This is a roster that is just is dying for blue chip talent. I mean, I know you do have AJ Terrell, Grady Jarrett, but outside of those guys, they just need some more dudes on this team. So Bijan Robinson at 8. The other option would be Darnell Wright. And why I say Darnell Wright is because this is a team that, Jake Matthews is getting a little older. He's been a nice player. Lindstrom's been pretty solid. The offensive line, I would say, is kind of like the Raiders. It's pretty solid, but you add Darnell Wright, a guy that could play tackle, guard, and now you're going in and you're thinking, hey, our offensive line could be a legitimate strength. And, that extra time for Mariota or Ritter, whoever plays quarterback for Atlanta, that extra time will be key, especially with Calvin Ridley coming back. Hopefully Kyle Pitts takes another step in his development. So that could be crucial for Atlanta. And on the defensive side of the ball, hopefully AJ Terrell is healthy. But I'll throw out a third guy for Atlanta. Third guy could be Luke Van Ness. Why I say Luke Van Ness is because Grady Jarrett. So I keep referencing the Raiders because, Atlanta has kind of the opposite problem. I know they bring back Lorenzo Carter. Lorenzo Carter is he's not a very good or elite pass rusher. He's a solid pass rusher. I know he had a pretty nice season, but he's never going to be like an elite pass rusher. Why I reference the Raiders, the Atlanta has kind of the opposite problem. Grady Jarrett gets penetration in the middle, but a lot of times quarterbacks can just flush the pocket because they have really no edge threat. You add Luke Van Ness, a guy that can, you can put next to Grady Jarrett and really disrupt that middle, or a guy that you can play in like the 4 or 5 technique and he can dominate a tackle. Or you can Van Ness does have the ability to stand up in a 2-point stance and rush from like the 6 to wide 9 technique. Ideally, do you want him to do that? Probably not. But the point being is Grady Jarrett disrupting that middle, and then you got Luke Van Ness, a guy that can hold the point of attack, 2-gap, and rush the passer with power and with a little bit of quickness. I think that would be a game changer for the Atlanta Falcons. So those are 3 names I'm going to throw out at pick 8 for the Atlanta Falcons. Bijan Robinson, one of them, Darnell Wright, and then Luke Van Ness. So, I initially thought, Atlanta's not really in that good spot because by the time they go, maybe, Jalen Carter's likely off the board, Witherspoon's likely off the board, Tyree Wilson's likely off the board, although maybe he won't be. We'll see. But maybe they're not. So Atlanta, I think Atlanta is an interesting team at pick 8, and they're a team, like the Raiders, just, a very average roster, but a team that, would get 1 or 2 more players, I think could give them that push to kind of take them to that next level and get them, make them a contender in the NFC South again. So I'm going to wrap with that, guys. Thanks for tuning in to Big Time Football Talk. Make sure to stay tuned for more episodes and clips from the show. Till next time, peace.